What's going on in your neck of the woods? Here in Guyana, the government is getting ready to cure the skunt and bring on fresh elections. Let me explain quickly. On December 21st, 2018, the government faced a vote of confidence which they lost unexpectedly due to one of their parliamentarians defecting and giving the opposition a majority for the motion to be carried. They tried all sorts of jiggery-poogery to change their faith while refusing to step down and hold elections as is required by the Constitution. I'm not even going to get into the arguments they are using because those arguments are an insult to the intelligence of the Guyanese people. Long story short, the case is now at the Caribbean Court of Justice where a panel of 5 judges will decide the fate of David Granger, his unilaterally appointed GCOM chairman, and the rest of his cabinet. Hearings are still ongoing, but we can clearly see that those judges at the Caribbean Court of Justice are not stupid people, and they see exactly what is happening and are appalled. Basically, Guyana is the biggest joke in the Caribbean right now because of this. Take a look at some of these clips from the last hearing.
The question is, should not the judicial resources available to the state be husbanded in such a way that a decision is taken which allows for the Constitution to be followed?
Yes, sir. This is the choir. You're preaching. The congregation is over there.
Well, yes, I suppose. But it's because, obviously the president must obey the Constitution.
Yes, indeed, Your Honor.
And so must the leader of the opposition. And so must the court.
Yes, indeed, Your Honor.
And the Constitution ordains that in these kinds of circumstances, if a no confidence motion is carried, elections must be held within 3 months. But to ensure fidelity to the Constitution, I would have thought that the state's judicial resources ought to have been deployed in such a way that a decision is taken on this matter, so that if it goes in one way, the Constitution can be upheld. I'm frankly astonished that we are
majority of everyone eligible.
Yes.
You need a larger number for majority than if it's just a majority of those actually voting.
It's a simple
and that's why I think Sir Dennis, by way of shorthand, said it's an absolute majority of the former case, simple majority of the latter case. But he didn't go into any halving and 1 + 1 formula, did he?
No, please, Your Honor, because
that's appropriate where you've got an even number to divide, but where you've got an odd number, there's no reason for that. You just need, I would have thought, the larger number of the odd number voting.
The key question in the 3 appeals before the Caribbean Court of Justice, the CCJ, is the amount of votes that were needed to pass the no-confidence motion on the night of December 21st last year. Trinidad and Tobago's Queen Counsel Douglas Mendes opened the arguments representing the opposition leader Barra Jagdeo.
I think everybody understands that if this court were to make a decision, and of course you have to decide by a majority, then it is accepted that 3-2 is a majority, as it was accepted by the Court of Appeal below that there was a majority decision of 2-1.
Mendes continued along that line, saying that the Court of Appeal was wrong in deciding to define the majority that was needed. The Court of Appeal, by way of a 2-1 majority, ruled that an absolute majority was needed, and after dividing the National Assembly by 2 and coming up with 32.5, it decided to round up that to 33, and so it decided 1 more was needed to make 34 to form an absolute majority.
The words absolute majority are to be found nowhere in the Constitution. Neither are the words simple majority.
One of the judges on the court was interested in the arguments of why 33 seats were good enough to form the government, but not good enough to remove it.
now, if the majority of the Court of Appeal is right, do I understand it that you need 34 votes to send the government home,
That's correct.
but you only need 33 to govern?
Essentially, that is it.
Is that...
That's effectively what they are saying.
Well, I will be very interested to hear what will be the deeper meaning of that, but I suppose there is one. But just applying some logic,
That is
that
in
will
fact
be the conclusion.
that is in fact what they have decided.
Okay.
In effect, what they have decided.
Mr. Sanjeev Dattadin, attorney for Charandas Prasad, who defected from his own government and voted in favor of the opposition on December 21st, continued with the argument that the 2 judges of the Court of Appeal were wrong in determining that an absolute majority in the House was needed to be 34 for the passage of the no confidence motion.
In simple terms, Your Honor, the majority meant a majority. And if they are 65, 33 would be a majority of that.
So you're saying this court could give a majority decision 3-2?
Well,
If you use the other calculation, it had to be 4-1.
Well, Your
If
Honor,
you're sitting with 5, half is 2.5, you have to upgrade it to 3, 1 more is 4.
well, Your Honor,
Is that more or less the position?
essentially, Your Honors, I was going to raise that because I've lost in this court 3-2, and I'm wondering whether I can invite the court to say that I didn't in that particular case. But Your Honor, it is so much time, and an entire nation waits with such a simple concept. And
it becomes even more absurd if only 3 members of the bench sit.
well, then it could only be unanimous.
Then you can only have a unanimous decision. You could never
Indeed,
have a
Your
majority
Honor.
decision.
Indeed.
Another of the key arguments was whether the vote of Charandas Prasad was valid because he voted against his party list. It was claimed that he was duty-bound to support his party, and if he knew he was going to vote against the government, he should have vacated his seat before the no-confidence motion.
If you must always vote with your list, then the government will always get a majority on a vote of confidence.
It would go beyond 106.6. It would mean that voting on any motion in Parliament would be a charade.
Absolutely.
Arguments in the case will continue on Friday. Reporting for the newsroom, Neil Marks.
Yo, I shame like a mother skunt. We are here because Granger refused to carry skunt. Let me know in the comments how you feel about this whole thing. I will continue to track these proceedings and keep bringing you the latest. So subscribe if you haven't already. And hey, I'm an official Amazon partner now. Check out my Amazon shop with the first link in the description. I can guarantee you will find something that you will like. My name is Mudwata. Boom out!
Hold up.